listening to GenreTainment. GenreTainment.
Hello, everyone. It's this time again of the year. This is the GenreTainment's SFP-NOW super-sized crossover episode that we do every year, recapping all of our favorites. And I am joined with, of course, SFP-NOW's Ian. Say hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey. And this year, we're also got our guests. I'm pretty sure they have been guests before. Jeff Burns from Super Geeked Up.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me back.
And author Katharine Dow.
Hello.
All right.
Oh.
And we can see each other, which you can't see. So, Ian isn't doing cartoon voices suddenly. He's got like a Yoda, baby Yoda action figure thing.
Shut the hell up.
I feel very, it's a very warm welcome, Ian. Thank you.
Well, just in case this is the first time you ever heard any of this, I guess we should introduce each other real quick. So I'm Marx Pyle, co-host of GenreTainment, also a filmmaker, a writer, an author. And Ian, why don't you say a little bit about you?
I'm Ian Cullen. I run sci-fi-post.net. I'm also the occasional host of SFP-NOW, given that we've only really done about 4 episodes this year. So that's me. And over to Jeff.
Hey, I'm Jeff Burns, the host of geeky improv comedy show Super Geeked Up. I'm also the writer-director of the superhero comedy series Super Knocked Up, and I am a sci-fi fantasy author.
Hi, I'm Katharine Dow. I'm the published author of several sci-fi and fantasy short stories, and the unpublished author of several speculative fiction books, although that part hopefully will change at some point.
All right, awesome. So we're going to talk about our favorite movies, favorite TV shows, and also wrap it up a little bit with some book, graphic novel, comic book, video game kind of stuff. Catch all. So we're just going to kind of go in a little bit of order. We're going to do a few rounds, and I'm sure, we're going to talk about all sorts of random things probably along the way. But let's start off with Ian, with movies.
With movies, okay. Well, I put quite a few movies on here. I'm just going to look to my first pick. It's not necessarily my first pick. We're just doing it in this order. To sort of help each other out, is a Michael Bay film that was released earlier this year called Ambulance, which was featured Jake Gyllenhaal playing a villain, which is actually quite rare for Jake Gyllenhaal because you don't see him play a villain very often. So, and he put in a pretty compelling performance. It was a huge car chase movie because it was about a bank heist and they escape in an ambulance. And there's like as always happens in America, I'm sure there's like a squad of about 60 or 70 police cars chasing this ambulance.
Oh yeah,
or getting waylaid in the middle of the road. It's just complete and utter mayhem, but it was just a fantastic visual film to watch. Lots of frenetic action and stunts and stuff like that with a plot that barely held together.
Sounds like a Michael Bay film.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Not held together just.
For some reason, when you talk about Michael Bay ambulance, I just keep saying a Transformer ambulance.
That might have made it better, actually. And not to dish your choice, Ian, because I'm always, whatever people like, that's awesome. I was super excited for this movie, and I couldn't get through it. Here's the thing. Yeah. Like, I like Jake Gyllenhaal a lot, but oh my God, he was so annoying in this movie to me. Like, he was so manic and would never shut up, and I just couldn't take him.
Well, the thing that kept me interested, to be honest, was I had a huge crush on the paramedic.
Oh, I liked her.
I definitely liked her.
I'm with you there.
So she kept me entertained for the full 2 hours. Doing her paramedic stuff, and she put in
her professionalism kept you.
Her professionalism kept me entertained. But she did put in a good performance. She was actually, she gave as good as she got.
Oh boy, Jesus Christ!
Okay, moving on.
Yes,
I have not seen Ambulance, so I can't. No comment.
Moving on, this is another.
No, wait. Now we're gonna move on to a different person.
Yeah,
Ian, right?
Let's move on to a different person.
Don't hog
we'll
it.
Get back to you. All right, I'll go next. I watched recently because it came out recently. Wakanda Forever, the second Black Panther movie. I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. I think it's my favorite. Pretty sure it's my favorite Marvel movie of the year. I liked how they balanced kind of a memory of Chad Boswick and integrate it into the story to, I think, enhance the story a little bit more. Even so, with with his sister and everything and family.
Did you say Chad? I'm sorry, Chad Boswick.
No, did I say that?
It's Chadwick Boseman. Right?
Chadwick Boseman.
That's why I was like, I'm trying to figure. Wait, what did he just say?
A lesser known actor.
Never mind. But anyway, so I liked how they balanced that and integrated into the story. I think it worked pretty well. I liked it. It really didn't even feel that much necessarily. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stunts and stuff, but it wasn't even so much a superhero movie as much as it could have been a sci-fi fantasy war type story, right? And Namor is a character that I do enjoy from the Marvel comics. And so I like that we finally got him. And I think he's right now a fairly good mix of, good guy, bad guy, which he is in the comic books. He kind of sways both ways depending on what, his motivations are. I think the actor did a really great job with that character. I found it really interesting. A very bold choice to change it from Atlantis to a new kind of fictional setting, Mesoamerican background. I think I can't remember the name of the city compared to Atlantis because there's but the look of it was great. It still looked kind of reminiscent to the artwork of Atlantis in the comic books, like their costumes and stuff. I could kind of see, where they took some references to it while making it Mesoamerican. So I like that idea, what they did with it. I understand why, because they didn't want everybody just compare it to Aquaman, because Aquaman came out first, even though Namor came out first in the comic books. And anyway, I thought it was a good action flick. It was a nice ensemble cast, different characters, some good performances in there. And it was definitely, for me, it was my favorite of the Marvel movies this year.
I just saw it last week, actually. I actually think the Black Panther movies are probably some of the better MCU movies out there. I like this movie. I think they did a good job. I agree with you. Like the Chadwick Boseman thing. I'll be honest with you. I actually cried at the end when his name came on the screen and in dedication.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very well handled. The end scene and then the post-credit scene is probably the best they've ever done. It was very touching, and they didn't do the thing where they have to usually do some other post-credit where they tie into something else, which was appropriate, I think, to honor Chadwick Boseman's legacy.
I think they said that's why they decided not to.
I really appreciate Ryan Coogler, who's the director. I think he really can handle some nice, subtle, dramatic, touch, poignant stuff along with all the action. So I'm impressed by that. I also like the Namor was a cool take. You're right, because I actually can't stand Namor in the comics. The character,
he can be tough sometimes too.
He's just an asshole, I think. I liked him in the movie. It was a good choice.
It ended on a really intriguing note, both with his character, but also with Wakanda and what's going to happen next. I don't know the comic books as well, so I don't know if it was a surprise to you guys, but I was very surprised that the new Black Panther, didn't become queen after that. She chose a different path for herself. But I liked that. I thought it was really interesting.
I've not seen it yet.
Oh,
no comment.
Don't worry about it.
I take it all back.
don't worry about it, because I would have forgotten about this conversation by tomorrow night.
Oh, no, edit that out.
Well, they did in the comic books. Not all this stuff happened in the same time or anything, but in the comic books, Wakanda and Atlantis have fought before, and Namor and Black Panther don't like each other. So they've have conflicts before, and so I like how they did use some of those elements. And I'm pretty sure she's become it was Black Panther, has been Black Panther at some point. So they took nice little cherry picked certain good elements and worked it in there. I thought
went in their own direction as well.
Yeah, it's its own direction and stuff. So, All right, moving on, Jeff.
All right, number one on my list is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is a movie with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal.
So it's about Francis Ford. Not Francis. It's about Stanley Kubrick's nephew.
What is it?
It's about Stanley Kubrick's nephew.
What?
Nicolas Cage is Stanley Kubrick's nephew, right?
Oh, okay.
Or is it Francis Ford Coppinger's nephew?
I don't know. That's not important to the movie.
This is crucial to your review, Jeff.
I know, geez.
Who his relatives are.
Anyway, it's
nepotism.
Nick Cage.
That's what it is. It's nepotism.
It's Nick Cage.
Nepotism baby.
Nick Cage playing Nick Cage. So it's just a really super fun, kind of satire on his own. He's playing kind of a satirical version of himself, like an an act where he's Nick Cage and he's not getting as much work anymore, and he's wondering about, or he should quit acting.
So it's Ghost Rider 1 and 2.
All right, so I'm never getting through this review apparently because Ian won't shut up. Even though it's my favorite
do it,
film.
Jeff.
Yeah. Can you mute Ian, Marx?
You're muted, Ian.
But Pedro Pascal plays this like rich Spanish guy who wants Nicolas Cage to come to his birthday party, and Cage winds up doing it because he's basically can't get any roles in the movie. That's kind of the conceit. So it kind of becomes this super fun buddy action movie, and also about like Cage's thing with like how he's fame versus his family and stuff. Anyway, it's so much fun. Like, I'm a huge Nick Cage fan. I know some people don't like him, but if you've seen his movies, there's so much fun, like reference to his past movies. He and Pedro Pascal are just wonderful together. I'm a big fan of Pedro Pascal too. They're so good as a buddy team. And I don't know, man. It's great action, but it's just so fun. And Cage is great in it, and he's great at making fun of himself in it. So yeah, I actually just watched it again a couple days ago for the second time. And it's just as good. Yeah, I love this movie. I highly recommend it. If you like Nick Cage at all, I would definitely recommend this movie.
Well, luckily, I'm sort of like on the fence.
On the fence, well, I don't know. If you like Nick Cage, see it. If you don't, then maybe not.
What I mean by on the fence is I can take or leave him. There's some things I've seen him in where he's been good, and there's other things I've seen him where he's not been so good. If you know what I mean. It's like a bit like your feelings about Jake Gyllenhaal in Ambulance.
Well, that's actually the only movie I don't like Jake Gyllenhaal in. Yeah, I like that. But Pedro Pascal is also awesome. So if you like him, you can also watch it for that.
Yep, he's great. He's everywhere.
He's seriously everywhere.
All right, next, Katharine.
Okay, so I picked Everything Everywhere All at Once. To me, this film was so weird and so fun, but it also 100% threw me into an existential crisis after I watched it. About the meaning of life and what it means to find happiness. So for me, it was so amazing because it's really rare that I walk out of a theater completely agitated and wanting to talk about a film. Usually I'll go and it's enjoyable, and even if it was moving, maybe a brief conversation, but that's it. But this one, like, I went with my spouse and we walked out of the theater having this incredibly intense conversation, walking down the streets of New York City. Like, I had, tears running down my face, and we were arguing about what the film meant. And it was like super, super intense. But fortunately, we live in, New York, where nobody pays any attention if you're having a dramatic public conversation. They don't care. But yeah, it's a film I'm still thinking about off and on, a couple months later. So to me, I would say it's a really totally unique and really great film. It was very different. With a lot of layers to it, I thought.
This is on my list too. This was actually, from the moment I saw the trailer, this was my most anticipated movie of 2022. It's not my number one because it was much weirder than I thought it was going to be.
Very eccentric.
But
I like it when they're both trying to jump onto something to.
I hated that part. Anyway,
it's one I've got to find time to watch yet. Yeah. I tried to watch it a couple of months ago, but the first 10 minutes of subtitles, I got fed up pushing pause on my VCR on my
VCR. Wow, you have a VHS copy of it?
No, on my system sort of thing. Because I'm dyslexic, so subtitles are a pain in the ass for me.
Yeah.
I hated it with Game of Thrones. Like, every other minute when it was the dragon scenes and what's the name, I was like having to pause every couple of seconds because subtitles were going wide too fast.
Yeah.
That would take the pleasure out of viewing for sure.
Yeah. What I really appreciate about this movie though is that it did something different. It took chances, because I think that we're really lacking that in filmmaking nowadays. Like, everyone wants to just do reboot, sequels, same thing. But this movie did something totally different, like, than anything else. And even though it was weird at times, I appreciated the filmmakers took chances. They tried something new. And also, Michelle Yeoh has been probably my favorite actress for a very long time, ever since the 90s, when in her Hong Kong action days, I became a big fan. Super Cop was actually the first movie I saw her in.
There in Last Christmas, which is a really poorly received movie here in the UK. What's her name in her from Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's great. She's in that one too. Yeah.
I didn't know she was in that. Yeah.
I didn't know she was in that.
I think this is easily, Michelle Yeoh's best role ever, though. that she's been given, and it really shows her amazing acting ability and how many different things she's able to do in this. And I'm blanking on his name right now, but her husband in this,
It's Short Round.
who's again from
Yeah.
the Goonies. He's also from the Goonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually just won like best supporting actor in I don't know, one of the one of the awards shows, which is great because he was so good in this too. And awesome action sequences, right? Too.
Yeah.
Like
It's good to see him back. Yeah, I love any multiverse, parallel universe, whatever type of thing. That's one of my niche interests. And so I as soon as I saw the trailer to it, like you, Jeff, it was like I have to watch this movie. So I was very eager to watch it. It probably isn't. It wasn't my favorite. Didn't make my number one. Similar because it was kind of weird, but it mostly was weird in a good way most of the time. And it actually the weirdness reminds me of the kind of like to me it feels like this decade's Buckaroo Banzai or oh crap, what's it? Yeah.
what are you trying to think of?
Oh no, I'm truck driver, weird Tokyo or Chinese China. I can't remember.
Big Trouble in Little China.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, I watched that Amy this year.
Yeah, it reminds me of that too. So
By the way, Ki Hui Kwan is the name of
yeah.
the husband. I may be mispronouncing that, but
Also
Yeah.
known as Short Round from the Indiana Jones and Temple.
Right.
yep, it was
No,
great. seeing him
I was
again.
really happy for him as an actor that he was able to do this film actually because he'd kind of dropped out of acting for a really long time and now he's back and it's great. It's always great when that happens with someone's career.
Oh yeah, yeah. So and I'm pretty sure this is an A24 film. I'm pretty sure.
It is.
So A24 is great about that, right? Whatever genre it is, they're a little weird, and they usually always make you think a little bit. So so I always, if it's A24, I'm always very curious to see what they're doing, and this is one of their best films overall so far. All right, well let's move on then. We're back to Ian. What's another pick here?
My second movie choice, probably a little similar in fact that it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird for me anyway. It's not really a movie I'd normally go see or check out because it's kind of like a romance or like a little bit about relationships sort of thing, and there's no blood in it or gore. Or things that goes for that, and it's called Everything. No, hang on. Sorry, it's called 3,000 Years of Longing. Sorry, and it's Tilda Swinton. She plays an academic. She's what they call she studies ancient stories, and she's an expert in the study of ancient sort of like stories and narratives sort of thing.
Oh yeah, this is a genie one, isn't it?
Yeah, and she's basically on a tour, on an academic tour, talking about various narratives, and she starts having these hallucinations, and it turns out that she's found a vessel, a lamp or something that produces a genie, which happens to be played by Idris Elba. Now, the reason I got this because I was kind of curious to see how Idris Elba would play a genie, because it's so against type for him, from what you've seen him in, really, other than maybe the four movies where he's playing Heimdall. And it actually surprised me because I didn't think I was gonna, it actually really surprised me. And it's basically he gives her three wishes and she refuses to accept them. And over the course of the film, she's getting his story of how he became a genie and the other people that he's encountered where he's given them three wishes and how it's all went wrong. And stuff like that, and it's really cool. And apparently he became a genie because he had his eye on the Queen of Sheba, or something like that. And she happened to be hooked up with this sorcerer who made him into a genie. And in order to escape from being a genie, he had to grant someone three wishes, and in the story he's given her about the people that he's met that he's granted wishes to. They've never got to the third one, because something's usually happened to prevent that from happening, sort of thing. It was actually a really good, really surprising movie.
Well, yeah,
cool. I've actually never heard of that.
I have seen the trailer but have not watched it yet. All right.
You're up, Marx.
I'm up. I think my next one is Thor: Love and Thunder. I didn't like it as much as Ragnarok. I think they did dip a little too much into comedy, but I did enjoy it overall, and I'm curious to see where they go with it from here. with this Thor story. I thought it was funny. Or with the Guardians of the Galaxy,
And Natalie
making
Portman
an
looks
appearance.
pretty hot in armor.
What's that?
Natalie Portman looks pretty hot in armor.
I see a theme here with Ian's comments.
I liked how they add some, some of the other gods. It broadens the MCU universe a bit, potentially. And I think it's interesting that I feel like when Marvel first started, or MCU first started, they wanted to keep very sci-fi-ish and stay away from fantasy-ish stuff. Like Thor was a space god. He's just an alien who's kind of high tech, and it's sort of like a god thing. But now we've gotten Doctor Strange. We're starting to get other supernatural elements, like the Darkhold and other stuff. And now they're just kind of like, yep, there's gods, And Christian Bale did a good job with the character he played, and the original story in the comic book I think was better overall. But there's a lot of things you have to address and work into with the MCU continuity. So I think they did a pretty good job overall balancing that out, and even having a few surprises by the end. So it was still very funny, and it just was a little bit too funny sometimes, but I still enjoy it. Like all the Marvel movies, even the worst Marvel movie they've come out with, I still enjoyed. At least I didn't go, give me my ticket money back. That's not always the case with other certain movies, but
I quite enjoyed it. But I agree with you. I think Ragnarok was actually the better movie of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that one?
I refuse to see any more Thor movies because I did not like Ragnarok.
Oh, you didn't like Ragnarok?
My main issue, here's the thing. Anything drives me crazy when you take a character and you completely change how that character is just because for the fuck of it, basically, right? Like Thor all of a sudden became a goofy comedian. Like, I don't know. We have enough comedians in Marvel. Thor does not need to be one of them. Like,
I don't know. He's kind of goofy in the first.
Like the first two movies, it's a total 180 switch.
He's a little goofy in the first one,
but not to the extent he becomes with the Guardians and Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
I never buy that when they do that 180 switch.
I think the Guardians like smoke space weed, and they're just
okay, maybe that's the explanation. That could explain it. You're right. All right, my number 2 is the movie Bullet Train. This stars Brad Pitt as an assassin, and has to do this job to get this like case on a bullet train in Japan. But all these other assassins wind up being on the plane, and they all have different things they're trying to do. And so there's multiple different storylines that all come together quite nicely at the end. This is a really fun action movie. Even though Brad Pitt's playing an assassin, like he's actually really likable in this movie. Like he's kind of like a nice assassin. He's not trying to kill people if he doesn't have to. So he's great. The whole cast is great. Like there's so many fun characters. There's these duo called Tangerine and Lemon, just the names they go by, or this fun like kind of bickering assassin couple duo. There's lots of trying to figure things out, people who aren't what they seem, but overall just like Brad Pitt really carries this, man. Like he's fun. It's like a fun action movie, like and the action scenes are done really well too. So I really enjoyed this. It's out on Netflix now, actually. So if you didn't get a chance to check it in theaters, you can catch it over there. But yeah, it was a very, very fun movie.
Cool.
I'm the only one who's watched my top 2 movies here.
I saw that one too.
You did?
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, cool.
The tangerine, what were they called again? Tangerine and orange
lemon, tangerine and lemon.
That's it. Tangerine and lemon. They really reminded me of Guy Ritchie characters, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue, the cleverness, the teamwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really fun film. Agreed.
Cool. Absolutely.
I haven't seen it yet, but the trailer looks good, and I did see that it was on Netflix. So, and I'll probably watch it. Where's the rank with John Wick? I finally saw John Wick. I never actually seen John Wick until recently, and I went through all 3 movies really fast.
Did you? So I still haven't. I've only seen the very beginning of John Wick. Did you enjoy them? I'm gonna take it.
Yeah,
did you watch all 3?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. It's really weird, John Wick, because you think it's kind of simplistic in some ways. But they have interesting characters, and because there's so many fight scenes, you think it would be really old, right? But it's like they just do it in really weird, creative ways that you're just kind of like, whoa, and you just kind of keep with it. And by the time it's done, you're like, oh well, that kept me entertained the whole time. Wow, and then you're always curious about what's going to happen in the next chapter. So Keanu Reeves is a likable guy too. So he's not.
Oh yeah, love Keanu Reeves.
He's not super polite, but he's a nice guy in the movie. Lots of headshots too, though.
My cat enjoyed the bit where the dog gets shot. She ring like that, you know.
Oh no, I hate that. I hated that. I saw that.
I love the bit where the dog got kicked to death, I think, at the beginning of the first film. Was it
Boy,
kicked?
you gotta get motivated. He kills a lot of people. He's gotta have a good reason to do that.
Yeah. Over dog.
It's not just about the dog, okay? His wife died too. His wife gave him that dog. His deceased wife.
Okay.
Everyone forgets about her. They just remember the dog.
They always do. They always forget. I'm like, he didn't actually have the dog that long. It was really more about the symbolism.
Wait,
of his wife.
is the wife already dead at the start of the movie?
Yeah. It starts off, his wife dies. She had left him this dog, like had ordered this dog from, because she knew he needed someone to love and stuff, and because he used to be an assassin or something. And
she just died from like an illness, right?
Yeah. And so, but then of course these Russian mafia punk people, whatever, like decide they want to steal his car. So they also took his car too. So I mean, just like a trifecta.
Oh man.
It's like a country western.
Yeah,
song.
I was just thinking that.
I've not seen Bullet Train yet, but I've seen all three of the John Wick movies, and I did enjoy them.
Yeah, it's just I don't know why they're enjoyable with that. And Halle Berry's an actress, like in the third movie. She's an actress that, I don't dislike her or anything. She's been good in some stuff, but sometimes she's kind of bland in some stuff too. But I really liked her character in that one, and she has dogs too that are well trained killers or attackers. And the fight scene with
like
the dog
produced
is just
by
like
Animal Rescue Center or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's a scene there with the dogs and gun shooting, and the dogs like partnering up with her and commands and attacking people. And stuff. It's like I've never seen anything like that before. So they're really creative in their action scenes.
Yeah, I introduced my sister to it earlier this year because my sister likes the Mission Impossible movies. So I kind of thought, well, got to introduce something a little bit different. So I introduced her to John Wick.
Yeah, well, there's a short story in the anthology, the recent anthology, Tales of Monstrosity. I kept saying it's John Wick meets urban fantasy, and then I'm like, you know what? Actually, I've never seen John Wick, so maybe I should actually watch John Wick.
Wait,
I'm just going by the trailers.
Is this your own story, you mean?
Yeah, my own story.
That's funny.
You could have just amended it. It's like the trailer of John Wick.
It's like the trailer of John Wick. Well, now I've seen John Wick, so there's less headshots, but it's still relevant in many ways. Anyway, I'm sorry, I got us off the track totally. Where we at? What's going on? You picked Bullet Train,
Cat, right? Yeah, right. Cat.
Tried to get us on track by saying I've not seen Bullet Train.
How about you, Katharine?
My second choice was Prey.
Yeah.
So I chose it because I always enjoy coming of age stories, and I like stories that center women. But I also appreciated that it was a film that centered the adventures of Native American characters without introducing a random white character to tell the story through, which is what Hollywood has done with a lot of films in the past. If you think of like Dances with Wolves or whatever, so this was, I'd say this is a pattern that's changed in terms of how they tell stories. But it's just also just a really great action film and sci-fi action film, and a lot better than it's probably after the first one, it's probably my favorite of all that series.
Yeah, I agree. I also put Prey on my list, and I agree. It's probably the second best Predator movie that I've ever made. But then again, the bar wasn't really that high for that.
Right. There's that too. But
this movie, it's on my list too. This movie totally deserves praise that you guys are giving it. It's great. Like I was so happy with this movie. You're right. Like they finally, once again, did a really awesome Predator movie. I agree with you, Kat. Like I've always felt that Native Americans are like the most underrepresented in media. So it was great to see like basically the whole movie is about Native Americans and the protagonist. She's a great protagonist. You really want to root for her. Her brother's great too. Like again, like you really want to root for these characters, and they have a nice brother-sister bond too.
They do. That's one of the things I really liked about it. That friendship, and also how he had that pattern of really, kind of mentoring and sticking up for her as she's trying to figure out where she fits.
Exactly. But also like the action's done really well too. Like,
yeah.
Right. It's easily after. I mean, the first Predator just like has such a classic place in my heart. But
right, it's hard to be rational about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the little Easter egg as well. I mean, they had a little Easter egg in there to Predator 2 with the old vintage handgun with the date inscribed on it. that gets handed to her at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like I'm not sure if it's handed to her or if she finds it, if they just leave it for her. I'm not sure because I've only seen the film once. I've not actually revisited it yet.
Mm.
There was an old style sort of like handgun,
Well, it's a gun of the time period it's in, right?
I'm
Or you
saying
think it's even older?
kind of predates the Wild West sort of
Oh,
thing,
okay.
or like a
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. It's from earlier.
sort of like handgun things.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet, and it's not because I want to. I don't know. I guess I watched John Wick.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah, I know. I have it on my list. I'm going to watch it probably this holiday break. I'm going to watch it. I just haven't.
It's on
got a
Disney
chance to.
Plus here in the UK, just to say that. And also, unfortunately, Bullet Train isn't on Netflix here in the UK as yet. It's still being sold to us or rented out to us on Amazon.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just looking at the trailer, I can definitely see the potential of it being the second best one. That's how low grade the other ones are. And I think it's great that we're seeing more Native American actors getting to star in roles and stuff. Like I've been watching Dark Winds on TV, and it's all Native American cast or mostly.
Oh,
And,
Dark Winds?
I think it's called Dark Winds. I hope I'm not
I gotta look this
I'm not
up.
greatest with names, but I'm pretty sure it's called. It's a like murder mystery thing. And so I'm glad to see that we're getting more and more. We're getting a lot more diversity. Actually, all of these movies, some of these movies we're talking about, are very nice and diverse. So
It is called Dark Winds.
yeah, it's really good if you like murder mystery.
Two Navajo police officers in the 70s. Oh, interesting.
It's really good. That actor, I don't remember his name, but he's the main sheriff or main cop there.
The main star says Zach McLaren. I don't know if that's it. He plays
he's
Joe Leaphorn.
He was in Lawnmower also. He was really great in that. So Lawnmower had some really good Native American actors in that too. Anyway, so let's start
Back to Ian?
Yep, back to Ian. Last round. So
Last round for the movies. I'm gonna go with this is actually quite a recent one. It's I can never enunciate his name. It's Del Toro's Pinocchio.
Oh,
yeah.
I just love the stop motion animation and the style of animation in it. And I love the sort of like the slight change in the storyline, how they've done it against the backdrop of Mussolini's Italy, sort of thing, and the little bit they add to it where he kind of joins the Italian version of the Hitler Youth, only it's probably the Mussolini Youth sort of thing. I just saw enjoyed the heck out of that film, and I like the way his nose grew, where you actually tree branches growing out of his nose, and not the Disneyfied pure as driven snow nose just growing sort of thing. It just sort of it kind of reminded me more. It's probably a little bit more in line with the actual grim tale of Pinocchio in terms of the visual style and everything. And I just like the film. But it was really really well done.
Nice. I haven't watched it yet, but I love the Toro stuff, so I'll be checking it out. Either one of you watch it?
I have not.
not yet.
All right. Something else for us all to check out. So I think my last, I'm gonna do a tie.
Oh, sneaky, getting around.
Because I like them for different reasons, but I think I should mention at least. Well, let me say the one I like better is the Batman. So it's very important. The Batman. It's like the Suicide Squad. You put the in front of it.
What if is the sequel going to be called Batman?
So I although it ran a little long, I think there's some pacing issues in that movie. I did enjoy it cinematically quite well, and it was an interesting, different take on Batman with the detective element of it all. So I think there's some stuff I would have liked to have done a little differently, but it's the most interesting Batman I've seen for a little while, and I was very surprised that the actor of Twilight fame was
Robert Pattinson.
Yep, he did such a great job for a troubled Batman, haunted Batman.
I thought Zoe Kravitz was pretty good as Catwoman.
Oh yeah, she was great too as Catwoman. I mean, and what you call it is Pigwin.
Robert Pattinson had practiced crouching outside Bella's windows in Twilight, so he could crouch as Batman on top of buildings.
Exactly.
It was actually filmed over here in the UK. That it was actually filmed in Liverpool. They actually dressed up parts of the Albert Docks and were like Gotham City.
Oh, nice.
Because my niece attends university in Liverpool, and she was kind of like and it was happening while everyone was in lockdown, and she was kind of like sneaking out to sort of like. Watch the film being filmed. Although she wasn't interested in the film being filmed, I think it was Robert Pattinson.
Probably, yeah.
No.
It's like, can you just stare at me in my bedroom? No.
In a very stalker-esque
In a
way.
very stalker way. But I thought it was a pretty good movie overall. They're going to do a whole franchise thing, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. So, honorable mention, just because, although that is a DC movie, isn't it? So, anyway, another DC movie too, I guess, is Black Adam. So that was my other second favorite, I guess, movie. It wasn't, I don't know, maybe
I thought it was pretty good. I like Black Adam.
I like The Rock, and the actor who plays Hawkman from Leverage is an actor.
That's where he's from. He was great as Hawkman.
Yeah, he was great.
Otis Hodge.
Yeah, he's great as Hawkman. I thought he was the best live action Hawkman we've had yet. And I would see a movie with just him as Hawkman probably.
I would too. Supposedly it was going to be, but who knows now with all the
who knows? But if they do reboot that, I hope they bring him back as Hawkman because I think they cast him perfectly for it.
He was great. By the way, I was super excited. One of my favorite DC characters is Dr. Fate, and you never get to see him in live action.
I know, right? He was good.
And I really liked the way I think they did a good job with Dr. Fate in this movie. I was so excited to see him.
Yeah, those two were spot on. And I mean, Black Adam was good for the character too. And it was nice to see Justice Society and stuff. It was distracting. Like, well, how does it fit in the rest of the universe we've seen? It doesn't really, that
just
kind of stuff.
Ignore that.
Yeah, I try. If you ignore that, it's still enjoyable. I hope they find a way. I hope they do a soft reboot and still keep it somehow in there and stuff. So, because I know, as many of you have seen, probably James Gunn and the other guy,
Peter Safran, I think, but I keep saying that to the other guy.
Yeah, everybody's like James Gunn and the other guy. They're rebooting everything. Henry Cavill's not going to be Superman anymore. Blah blah. So everything's kind of up in the air. So, but I hope they find a way to save the stuff from this movie because I think it's worth having those characters in other stories later. So, all right, who's next? Jeff.
All right, last one for me is the Netflix film Enola Holmes 2. So this is the sequel to First Enola Holmes. Came out a couple years ago. It's based on a series of books. Enola Holmes is the fictional sister of Sherlock Holmes. I wish I knew the author's name right now. I can't think. Oh, Nancy Springer. There it is, right there. Came up with, and Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things fame plays her. My favorite role that she's played. She's just an absolute delight in this movie. Enola Holmes is like this. She's like, I guess, late teens or maybe early 20s in this movie. And in this sequel, she's formed her own detective agency because, like Sherlock, she has amazing deductive skills. And in this one, she's trying to help find a missing girl. And speaking of Henry Cavill, he plays Sherlock Holmes in these two movies, and he's awesome. It's Sherlock Holmes is my favorite fictional character, and I think it's a really awesome version of that character.
I think it's kind of meh, to be honest.
All right, Ian, save your comments after I'm done. Seriously, I cannot get through a review without Ian interrupting, and it's only me he interrupts.
Comedy value, you see.
But I think he was great. She's awesome, and but it's just so fun. They do the fourth wall breaking in this movie, but they do it perfectly. Like, she talks to the audience. It's great. It's so much fun. Like, there's an art to this because the series She-Hulk, I think, did not do this well at all, the fourth wall breaking, but this movie does it perfectly. It's a really great story, a mystery, great acting. It's fun. Both movies, you can see both of them on Netflix. If you haven't seen the first one, highly recommend them. It's a really cool cast too. And it's just a fun new take on the Sherlock Holmes mythos.
It has a fun twist to it as well, doesn't it?
All right, don't give it away.
Don't be like me.
It has a fun twist to it.
Yep, just leave it at that. Fun twist.
Yeah.
I have not seen it yet, but I do have it on my list to watch after Prey. After Prey.
This should be the name of this episode. I haven't seen it yet because that's what Mark says after every movie we mention.
What have you been doing yet?
That's because I've been watching all the TV stuff. It's my TV list is huge.
You do have a long TV list. That's true.
Which I will not cover all of it. But so, anybody else have anything more to say about that one, or do you want to go, Katharine? You ready?
Sure. My last pick third pick is Nope.
Okay, fine. You don't have to say it.
Yeah.
I will not share. Yeah.
What's the sequel called? Maybe.
Right. You never know. But yeah, with this movie, I went in assuming it was going to be horror, but it was really more of a mashup of Western, thriller, mystery, sci-fi, all kinds of stuff. It was really emotionally raw. I thought very creepy, kind of scary. But for somebody who's a bit wimpy like me, not overwhelmingly scary, just enough. And really good characterization again with this one. So what I liked about it was I went into it expecting one thing and it turned out to be something totally different. It really surprised me. So I loved that about it. And I just thought it was a solid film. Very unique, but quite good. So
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I like Jordan Peele's films, and I thought I was surprised too by the direction he went with it, and thought it was pretty good too. What's your take on the the TMZ type guy, the motorcycle with the weird helmet thing? Like, what was up with that? Do you remember?
like,
was like-
what happened to him? Or
Well, I mean, what was up with the outfit? It's like,
oh, I don't know.
it's like they're just trying to trick us, make us think maybe he's an alien or something. It was weird. Anyway,
Yeah, who knows?
yeah, I thought that was a really good movie too, and it's a little less. I like smart horror movies more than like gory stuff. Like
Yeah,
nothing
the
against
psychological thriller kind of
yeah,
thing.
nothing against
Yeah.
X or like Terrifier 2 and stuff like that. Nothing against those necessarily, but I'd rather get more psychological type horror or explore themes.
Yeah, that's more my taste as well.
Either one of you watched it?
I
Nope.
have not.
Nope.
I just like I like the title can be so many jokes though. Like, you want to see a movie this weekend? Nope.
Nope. All right, let's move on to let's save TV for the end.
Oh, say the best for last, huh?
Yeah,
Controversial.
because I think we can go through the books, graphic novel, comic book, video game thing pretty quick. So, Ian, if you want to start us off with some of your picks real quick.
Okay, well, this one's it's first on my list. It's only three on my list, and this one's it's a book. It's fairly new. It's called Earth Divers. It's done by IDW, and it's about a group of Native American people who concoct a plan. It's set in the future, so it's set in the 2100s, I think. And it's about a group of Native American people living in a barren wasteland called America, and they concoct a plan to prevent America from happening by sending one of them back to 1492 to assassinate Columbus.
Interesting.
And it's really interesting because it's playing around with the idea of time, and the time travel device isn't a machine as such. It's basically a cave where you have to go into it naked and turn at, and think about where you wanting to go in time, and it transports you back through time.
Oh, the classic naked time traveling.
Yeah,
like
I like
Terminator.
like Terminator.
And the artwork's really vivid. So it helps if you've had a few drinks before you read it, so your eyesight.
Not too many drinks, or you take off your clothes and run down the street going, "I'm traveling through time."
Wait a minute, Ian, is that why you like it? Because there's so much nudity in the comic?
No. There's only nudity when they're time traveling, and there's not very much time traveling going on.
Oh, too bad.
But it's a fun comic. It's a fun read. I'm kind of up to issue 3 of it now that I've just finished. And let's see, the artwork's by David Gian. I can never enunciate the names. Gian Ferris and Joanna Nafuente. That sounds about right. And it's written by Stephen Graham Jones, and it's a really intriguing book so far. I'm up to issue 3, so I'm quite enjoying that. And I'm quite enjoying the fact that they're trying to figure out the consequences of this guy's actions in the present day. Like there's a group of them have gone to the library to read a history book to find out whether he succeeded or not, and they kind of get interrupted before they can do that. And it's a fun read.
Cool. Why don't you just briefly talk about the other 2 picks, and then we'll move on.
Oh, the other 2 picks. Well, I picked most of the Star Wars comics that Marvel are doing because they've been doing kind of a follow-up to Solo, a Star Wars story, where they're featuring the Lady Quera, who Han Solo was involved with for a time, and she's kind of like leading the Crimson Dawn in a plot to try and assassinate the Sith Lord, hence Emperor Palpatine, and The current arc is they found this sort of like ancient relic which imprisons the Sith, and they're using it to try and sort of like I'm not sure if they're trying to capture the Palpatine with it because he's already a Sith in the cage sort of thing, but they're using it to try and lure him out sort of thing. It's a really interesting book. It's got some really interesting new characters in it, such as the archivist, who's sort of like she's kind of like neither Sith nor Jedi, but she's kind of Force sensitive, but sort of like studied the Sith and the Jedi and Order Renix. So she's kind of like an interesting character to it. Anyway, that's sort of like been going on. It's been tying into all the Star Wars books as this Crimson Dawn story arc. And I think we've had Crimson Rain, and we're now up to Crimson something else. I'm not very good at explaining it, but they've kind of crossed the stream sort of thing because it's kind of had influence on pretty much most of the Star Wars comics this year, and it's been a really interesting arc. And
Cool.
my final one is called the British Paranormal Society, and that one is I'm going to sort of see if I can look up my review on the site here. That one is kind of like Mulder and Scully, but set in a different time period. And it's kind of set, I'd say, sort of like 19th century, maybe early 20th century sort of thing. And it's about two paranormal investigators, and they're visiting this rather strange British town.
Isn't that all British towns, really? No, teasing.
But this one, and they find a cult within the town, and they're looking for his lost friend, and they find that his lost friend's been taken over by this cult, and they're investigating this cult. I read up to issue 3 of it. I only purchased issue 4 last night because basically I used to purchase my comics and I used to subscribe through Comixology.
Mhm.
But because Amazon has taken over Comixology and messed everything up in this country, in England, us British, we can't subscribe to comics anymore.
Hmm.
So
What? You can't use Comixology in Britain?
but basically, Amazon has made it so you cannot subscribe to your comics. So instead of subscribing to Star Wars, I have to search around and pre-order every issue that's actually coming into print. So it's made it more time consuming for me. Whereas when it was just Comixology before Amazon took it over and fucked it up, excuse my French, I could just subscribe to a comic and I get every issue when it came out. Whereas now I have to look for shit, and Amazon are not showing any signs of changing the policy as of yet. But British Paranormal Society, I'm quite enjoying it because it's kind of like got an X-Files vibe, but sort of an early 20th century, late 19th century sort of like X-Files vibe. And if it was
Cool.
set.
Cool. Yeah, talking about Star Wars, I read some of those. And Dr. Aphra is one of my favorites. So it's a character I like to see pop up in live action. All right, so we talk a little bit about my picks real quick. Something new, at least new for me. I'm on volume 5 now of the graphic novels. Is Something is Killing the Children. And it's ongoing comic book series published by Boom Studios. And it basically it starts off in this small town, Archer's Peak, where children are going missing, and ones that do return have terrible stories. At least this one boy does, and it's basically these monsters that only the kids can see. And there's this house of basically monster hunters, and this girl, Erica Slaughters, is trained by them basically as a monster hunter, and she's come to town to try to kill these monsters. So it's got some pretty cool scenes, very cinematic. This mystery unravels over time, and monsters are pretty freaky, and the whole House of Slaughter is an interesting take on monster hunters. Love to see it as a TV series. And actually, as I just was looking it up, I see that it got optioned by Netflix, but who knows if they'll move forward or not. But so might be a good, cool series at some point.
Netflix is kind of the kiss of death of late because they seem to be getting stuff and canceling it.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're the new Fox.
They pretty much. Well, and they just canceled a Monster Hunter type thing, right? With Warrior Nun. So
they cancelled Buckaroo Banzai. They cancelled Warrior Nun, which I'm pissed off about because I love that show.
yeah, it's sad they did that. They didn't advertise Warrior Nun at all either. So it's kind of setting it up for
Yeah,
film.
they keep on doing that to me. I'll get into a show, I'll discover it maybe a little late. I get into it and just to find out that it's over already.
Yeah.
It's tragic.
Yeah. It's gonna bite them in the long run if not careful, especially sci-fi fantasy fans. Like you don't want to get into a series if it ends on a cliffhanger or something.
Right. They don't even warn the poor writers, though. They,
I know.
Warrior Nun, pedigree, well, it's all like same producer as Continuum.
Oh yeah,
The shows.
but they got to do one thing. I have to say that was good with CW. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff with CW. I like a lot of the shows, but I always felt like they always tried really hard when they were going to cancel a show to give that some warning to the showrunners and stuff. Usually, there's not a lot of
Except last year.
well, yeah, but they got bought out, right? So that's the whole thing. So.
Right.
But up till then, like you had long running shows or you had shows that at least got a chance to wrap up and everything. And I think that's why I gravitated towards CW so much, probably because I felt like, well, no matter what, the show, will lead somewhere probably, or at least not end on a cliffhanger probably.
And then you got The Flash that's been running for 9 seasons when it should have really just been running for 9 seconds.
Oh, ouch.
Oh.
That's a major diss. The Flash used to be my favorite show. I haven't watched it in years, but
I haven't watched the last couple seasons. All right, let me quickly do my wrap up on here and see. The other one I picked is a graphic novel called Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer, where they fast forward to a Buffy that's about in her 50s. And I'm not exactly sure where it fits into continuity, if it's like moving forward from the comic books that grew like in season 8, 9, 10 and stuff, or if it's something new from that studio. But anyway, I thought it was interesting to take this character who's kind of older. It's kind of almost like Old Man Logan in some ways, and who kind of has to train a new Slayer, and who happens to be, not too big of a spoiler because it's in the first issue, is Willow's daughter. So, which is the second thing I've read now that has Willow's daughter as a Slayer. So I feel like there's a desire to do that apparently. So that was a really interesting graphic novel too.
All right. Book I'm reading right now is called Waxing On, The Karate Kid and Me by Ralph Macchio. And it's all about his time making the Karate Kid movies. So the original Karate Kid is one of my kind of like, it's very, nostalgic in my heart. I love that movie. And the book's been very enjoyable so far. I like it that he's very humble in his telling of what happened. It's also, he's very like kind in the way he talks about his fellow actors. It's particularly with his friendship with Pat Morita. You can see how important that was to him and how close they were. So that was really enjoyable to read. The parts I am not enjoying as much is, for many people, I'm sure it'll be great. There's a lot of references to the current Cobra Kai series, which makes sense. I just happen to have a loathing for that show. So really? I just want to hear about the older Karate Kid stuff, not the terrible bastardization of it, in my opinion, even though I know it's very popular and many people.
That's a minority opinion. That's bold.
I know it. I have many minority opinions when it comes to entertainment. I'm actually surprised how much I agree with you guys today with other stuff.
But not on that one. Yeah.
I have no problem having minority opinion on things. Anyway, I won't get into that because if you love it, that's great. But anyway, I guess the good news is no matter what you like, you'll find something in this book that he talks about with stuff because he ties plenty of the stuff into the current things as well.
Unless you just hate Karate Kid, then don't.
Well, you're right. If you totally hate all Karate Kid, then don't get the book. You don't want this book.
I thought 1 and 2 were great. The third...
3. He even admits in the book that 3 is not a good movie at all. Yeah. I haven't got to that part yet until he's talking about that, but he kind of just references it briefly. Anyway, so that's the one book. My other ones are going to be video game mentions. A game that just came out recently is a Marvel game called Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns, I actually looked up earlier today. I did not read it, but it was a comic storyline or series originally with Blade, Morbius, and Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that's good.
You read it, Marx?
Yep, read it back in the day.
Okay, you liked it? All right, cool.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage wasn't in it, by the way.
No, it would have been much better if he was. Anyway, this is Midnight Suns, the game, with Blade and Ghost Rider. There are no Morbius, but a lot of other cool characters. And you play this character called the Hunter, which you create this character, what he or she looks like. And it's a tactical RPG, but they bring in other characters that are not part of the Midnight Suns, like Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. So you get to have all these different characters. You choose different ones for different missions on your team. And it's actually really fun because it's tactical RPG. So you're on this like space and you play different cards that do different powers.
So is it kind of like turn-based type thing?
Yes, these are the makers of XCOM, if anybody's played that. But it's kind of it is turn-based, but you, instead of choosing things, you play cards. Like each card has a different power or ability. But it's super fun. Like I didn't think, because I didn't really play a lot of tactical RPGs, at least, but it's awesome. It's really enjoyable. The writing is really good. Like they really capture these characters like well. I think like these guys know their comics and the characters. My favorite character is actually Niku Minoru, who if you either read Runaways or watched the Hulu series Runaways, she's one of the characters on there. And what I really like, I discovered this today, the actress from Runaways, Lyrica Okano, plays her in this game as well.
Cool.
Cool.
So I think and she's my favorite character in the game. She's so much fun.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed Runaways.
Yeah, I watched the first season. It was cool. But all the cast, like Iron Man, Spider-Man, those actors, I don't know who they are. I haven't looked it up, but they're doing a really good job, I feel, all the actors in the game. So if you're a Marvel fan or an RPG fan, you can check out Midnight Suns. Last game is not new at all, but it's new to me. I just started playing a couple months ago. It's a game I never thought I would like, and I'm obsessed with it now. It's Fortnite, which is one of the most popular games in the world the last few years.
Never heard of it.
Okay, all right. That's you're right. I haven't seen it yet. Right, that's your thing.
So it sounds like you've fallen down the trap that I've fallen down, Jeff. You've fallen down it with Fortnite. I've fallen down it with Rocket League.
Oh, Rocket League. Yes, I have not played that, but that's a very popular one. Yeah.
So like I've been playing pairs and threes, and I'm obsessed with ranking up and getting my mechanics better and my gameplay better and stuff.
I know, right? Yeah, Fortnite too. I want to keep ranking up. But yeah, you know what? It's a game that's been very good about Fortnite reinventing itself. Like they just introduced a new chapter, which a whole new world. I can't believe how many licenses this game has. There's Star Wars characters, Marvel characters, DC characters. This season, Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher is going to be a character you can play. So they're like constantly bringing all these characters. And while it is free to play, it is very good at getting you to spend money to buy other skins and characters. So anyway, that's my three.
Cool.
Okay. I picked 3 books. So the first was a book that came out this year called When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. It's a fantasy, kind of more in the urban fantasy side. It's about rage. It's about seeking out your destiny, even when it takes you away from the role you think you're supposed to play or the person you're supposed to be. So it's a little bit, sometimes you almost feel like you can almost tell the author is working through stuff through this book. but I thought it was really good. I thought it was really beautifully written. So that's the first one. And then the other 2 are books that are not new in terms of 2022, but they're new to me. So I wanted to add them. The first one is called Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton. It's kind of an end of the world apocalypse type story, but it's the main character like all the main characters are animals. And it's really unique and it's very clever. And it's just a cool book.
Nice.
Yeah. And kind of a zombie apocalypse sort of thing, except it doesn't affect the animals, I guess. And then the third one is an older book, but discovered it recently by Terry Pratchett called Monstrous Regiment. And it's a satire about, war in the military and stuff like that. And it's just really clever and fun. So I wanted to throw that one in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like the zombie apocalypse through a perspective of animals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really unique. It's great. I think you would actually really like that one.
I need to check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're finally to the TV.
Okay, so is it repeat same order again? Me first?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, TV. Let's see. Well, everyone's mentioned Strange New Worlds and stuff like that. I'm going to mention the ones that no one else has mentioned. I'm going to start off with something quite festive. The Santa Clauses, which is a really fun show. It's meant for kids that are very old, kids like me. And going to like see now and sort of losing their marbles a bit. But it's just it's basically Tim Allen reprising his role as Santa Claus, and the plot of it is he sort of like starts losing his powers and he gives up the mantle of Santa Claus and hands it over to somebody new. and somebody new starts messing it up, loses his Santa suit within the first episode, Scott Calvin, he was the Santa Claus, has sort of like moved back to Chicago, Illinois, and is trying to settle back into a life of suburbia, but finding it really difficult. It's actually quite fun. Because his two children in the show, not Charlie in the film, but two new children that he's had with his wife Carol, or Mrs. Claus. Because they were born in North Pole, they were born with sort of like powers. One can speak to animals, and the other one can sort of like see holes opening up in the sky. But it's a really fun series. It uses like Christmas mythology from around the world. Like they've got the Christmas witch Befana, Befana from Italy in it, and she was sort of like the Christmas gift giver from Italy. Um, and it uses the mythology quite well. And it's just a fun overall Christmas show. It's worth a look. It's on Disney Plus, and they've actually commissioned a second series.
Cool. I didn't even
Nice.
realize that was a show. I thought it was a movie.
It's a like a limited series, but I guess more ongoing now if they did a second one.
Cool.
Actually, I've never seen the movies, but it makes me want to go watch the movies now before I see the show.
I've seen the first one. Yeah.
I've seen all three. I think the first one's the best out of them all, to be honest. But
Cool. All right. Well, I'll do the next one. So I'm gonna continue the superhero theme. We go Peacemaker.
Yeah,
Yeah. Even if for anything, just for the dance scene in the credits.
best opening theme ever.
So I think James Gunn. I don't like everything James Gunn's done in his career, but I do like a lot of his movies, and I was surprised how well he does TV. So I thought Peacemaker was a really good TV show, a nice mix of kind of raunchy little humor that's a little raunchy sometimes, and but also some action and superhero stuff. And all the actors did a great job. I think the overall series just went really well. I was very I liked the Suicide Squad, but when I heard, because Peacemaker wasn't exactly likable in the Suicide Squad.
kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he's kind of a villain in it, really, and so I was like, how are they going to make a series out of this? I don't know, but they were able to do it. They made it to where he was, you kind of see his perspective, and his father is way more evil than he could ever have been, and it's a good little redemption type story for him and other characters, and Vigilante. It's hilarious. Oh crap! What's the Judo Master? It was funny. Eagly, there's just a lot of really interesting characters, lots of funny moments, and kind of story that only James Gunn probably could make. So I don't want all my DC stuff to be like that, but I do like that. I would like to see some more Peacemaker and more, spinoffs and stuff too, or a spinoff. So
yeah, this is like the number one on my list too. I love the show so much. It's so hilarious. Like John Cena is amazing, like as Peacemaker. Like he is just perfect in this role.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Freddie Stroma as Vigilante was so funny too. Like, yeah, I mean,
he's like Napoleon Dynamite if he was in Punisher meat.
If what?
Napoleon Dynamite meat becomes Punisher.
Yeah, is that how they call it, or you just came up with that?
I don't. That's what I think of it. I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's a good pitch. Yeah, no, but I mean, it's a fun storyline, and the action's good. The characters are all very, different and unique, but likable in their own ways, But yeah, I mean, the fact that it's kind of like so off the wall and goofball-y, it just really makes this a very appealing show.
Cool. And Jeff. And so what's your pick?
Okay. So after Peacemaker, Star Trek Strange New World is on my list. I am a huge Star Trek fan. Deep Space Nine and Next Gen are probably my two favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
But the more current Star Trek things like Discovery, I have not been a fan of at all. I don't even watch those after the pilot. So Strange New Worlds was very, very great to see because I felt it went back to what my Star Trek, like what I want to see out of Star Trek. I feel like it was very back kind of to the original ideas and with characters that are really likable, touching on like some social issues and some more important topics, and doing it very, very nicely and with a deft touch. Captain Pike
Hit it.
on it. What?
Hit it.
Oh, okay. That's what he says when he goes to warp. Somehow he makes that work because it's really goofy, but yeah, he makes it work. But honestly, like, dude, this is how good. After like the first episode, I was like, oh my God, he might be my favorite captain now. And I didn't think anybody would be a top Captain Picard for me. But like he is awesome. Captain Anson Mount, this like so good. Like that's the captain I want to serve under. And Ethan Peck, like I can't believe anybody could be that good as Spock after Leonard Nimoy.
I think Ethan Peck's actually the best since Nimoy.
Oh, easily. He's like he is Spock. The whole cast is good though. Like the cast is really great. Again, like these are characters I really care about, which has been lacking in some of the other Star Trek things of recent. Like even the Picard show, which I kind of like. I couldn't get through season 2. Like
I think you're probably going to like season 3 though, because I've got the.
Yeah. I know everybody's back, but I'm still not excited. I want to see Peaceful Worf. I want it because he's my favorite. I want to see like a pacifist Worf. That's interesting.
But he curses like a sailor.
Does he?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, what? That'd be funny because he really didn't curse, unless maybe in Klingon he did. But yeah, like this, I feel like this is Star Trek getting back to like, again, I know everybody has a different idea of Star Trek depending on what you grew up with, but like what I want to see out of Star Trek. I think they nailed it.
I agree. I think they absolutely nailed it. I've watched every single episode of that show about 3 times since it aired, and I've not done that at all with Discovery.
No, yeah, I do watch all the Star Trek shows, but Strange New Worlds is my favorite by far, and I feel like it encapsulates, much like you said, Jeff, what I like about Star Trek. I think it's interesting that they're episodic.
Yes.
I think it shows the strength of good episodic storytelling, with plot threads that run throughout the season, but that have good standalone stories too. And I like how it's more uplifting and hopeful and explores themes and stuff.
What did you guys reckon to Lan Noonien Singh?
What do we think about her?
Yeah, as a character, because
I liked her.
I'm the same. I kind of I was a bit dubious at first, obviously because of Khan and stuff like that. But once I'd seen her and seen what a good job the actor did with the role. And being a bit biased actually, but I actually liked what she did with the role before I actually interviewed her for the website. Here.
Nice.
It's sort of like I kind of liked her right away, and especially in the episode where all her nightmares come real, with the Gorn and stuff.
Yeah, well, I think she showed her range too. Whenever she's a princess as her dog.
That was a fun episode, the fantasy episode.
That was actually her dog as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, she has it on social media all the time.
Well, yeah, I think like all the characters. There's actually nobody I dislike really on the show.
I was a bit upset at the death of the Andorian engineer.
Yeah.
I was really.
Spoiler alert.
Well, everyone's seen it now, Jeff.
I haven't.
Yeah, listen, Kat ruined one for you, Ian. You ruined one for her.
Revenge, yeah.
Well, yeah. So anybody like Star Trek has to watch that. I think Discovery does get better after at least season 3 on, but still it doesn't feel like Star Trek.
Sorry, I love it when people tell me, listen, you just got to get to season 3.
Well, they had to get past the Klingons because that was such it's so distracting.
However, I will say though, I don't think Next Gen got really good until season 3 either. So I think you have to get through 2 seasons of crap on that too. So
it's true. And Discovery was they were the first one, so they have I think they course corrected once they saw people's reactions. Huh?
In TNG, there was a handful of good episodes in the first 2 seasons. I mean, Measure of a Man.
Second season has some. First season, that's like flushing down the toilet. That whole season.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on from that, Jeff. So Katharine, what do you got? What's your pick?
All right. My favorite was Andor for this year. I loved that show. To me, it was like the most. There have been a whole bunch of recent Star Wars type shows that have come out in the last couple of years, but this of all of them is my favorite. Because it was just so gritty and raw, and I like that it had addressed class issues, incarceration, political oppression stuff, but like the whole time it's just sweeping you away with action, like nonstop action and intensity. It felt like a kind of crime heist at one point. All sorts of different things. like, I just think it's a really cool show. I think the actors are all doing really well.
Yeah, the Prison Break was well written.
Yeah, that was like such an intense episode. So yeah, I'm excited for, the next season. A little sad I have to wait so long. I don't know when it's coming out, but I wish it was, right away. But anyway, so that was my favorite of the year.
Nice.
Mm.
I've only watched the first 2 episodes so far. They got interrupted by some.
Okay.
I've been doing
You're gonna
Buffy.
enjoy it.
I've been doing Buffy rewatch for Urban Fantasy track for Dragon Con, so that's what consumes my time. That's why some of these movies are on my to watch list.
Right.
All right, Ian, what's your round two?
Oh, it's round two. Round two for me. I think soon as I don't think anyone else has it on the list, I'm going to go with Warrior Nun, which has been cancelled sadly because Netflix just likes to disappoint people and get them into stuff and then cancel it. But basically, it's based on a 90s comic book, and it's about a paraplegic young woman. She's an orphan, and she dies, and when she's taken to the morgue, and there's a cult of nuns within the Catholic Church who fight demonic entities and demons and stuff like that. I think they're called the OCS or something. And the leader of their group is called, is like the Warrior Nun, and she has the halo of an angel. It's kind of like embossed in her back. And this halo gives her supernatural abilities in order to help her fight demons. And basically, this young girl, she's called Ava. She dies, and one someone puts this halo in her back, and she comes back alive, and she ends up fighting the demons. The series actually launched during lockdown in 2020, but the second season of it came out this year, which is why I've chose it. And it's worth a watch. Just watch the whole series, get the Netflix numbers up, see if you can change their minds. I don't think you will, but
probably not.
I will say it starts off a little bit slow, as in the first. It takes to about episode 3 of the first season to get going. But once it gets going, it's really intriguing storyline, and with lots of great martial arts fight scenes and action. And
shotguns
and shotguns, and there's even a little bit of another story in it which kind of comes into season 2, but it's kind of hinted at in season 1, sort of thing. But it uses a lot of the Roman Catholic mythology really, really well. So it even comes up with stuff that even I can't, I'd actually forgotten, and I was raised Roman Catholic, so.
Well, cool. All right, so my second round pick is Wednesday. And recently came out Netflix, and Tim Burton directed. It's the Smallville showrunners, right? They're the showrunners of the show, Jeff, pretty sure.
Wednesday, are they?
I think so.
Alfred Go and Miles Millar?
Yep, they are.
Did not know that.
And Jenny Ortega, who's in all sorts of stuff, Scream and X and a bunch of other stuff out there. She does a great job as Wednesday. She gets in trouble at school, standing up for her brother. She throws some piranhas in a swimming pool with a bunch of bullies, kind of gets her in trouble. And she ends up going to this private academy school that her mom, Morticia, went to, or I guess both her parents actually. And it's for outcasts, and they're all different kinds of, like, the werewolves and vampires and gorgons and sirens and stuff like that.
Those are some schools I went to.
And even then, in a school of outcasts, she's still kind of a loner person. So it's interesting to see them play with. And then there's a murder mystery and everything going on. So it's sort of like a little bit of, it's like Addams Family meets a touch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, meets a touch of like Nancy Drew, I guess, or something like that. Cool. And it's pretty good. It's pretty funny. It's kind of dark in a way, but it's still family friendly overall. I mean, maybe not little kids, but it's not like super gory or anything. But so I think it's got that Tim Burton flair to the visuals and everything. And I think it's already been renewed for season 2. Hopefully, and Netflix won't change their minds. But it's the most watched show they've had since Stranger Things and the Dahmer show and stuff. So it's definitely very popular, and of course in pop culture right now for just a dance scene only. See, dancing, everybody, you need to put a dance scene in your thing, and then you're going to be great. A goofy dance scene in your show, and you will be a hit. I think
right.
we've unlocked the formula.
So what? Let me ask you this: how is the tone? I've been told this is quite dark. If it is, that's why I've been avoiding it.
I mean, I don't know. It's dark, but then it's like it's not. It's dark but wholesome. It's kind of weird. It's like it's because she's like she'll say stuff, but then it's like about murder or something. But she, from her action stuff, she's not actually going to murder anybody or anything. So same with her parents and stuff. And I guess that's the Addams Family kind of
Right.
take, right? They don't actually like murder people or do anything really evil or anything. And they just they're like the super goths before goths are around, I guess. And it's interesting. I looked back at Addams Family after that because I was like, oh, I didn't realize that look for Gomez is kind of like how the cartoon was. And the original, because it was originally like panels like from was it 30s or something, like cartoon panels and the New Yorker, I think. And that's where it all kind of started from. And eventually, we got animation and TV show and everything. So it's kind of interesting history for it. But anyway, it's a good show. It's really interesting. I don't know if it's too dark for you or not, Jeff. Give it a try. See, maybe watch one episode.
Just watch the dancing.
Oh yeah, well that's episode 4.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting show. It's definitely different than anything that I've seen out there. So it was a curious mix. All right, what's yours, Jeff?
All right, my next one is Halo, based on the very popular long-running video game series. I really enjoyed the show. It's a really good sci-fi show. Outside of this is not the most important part, but the visual effects on the show may be the best I've ever seen in any show ever. I cannot believe how good the aliens, which I can't remember the names of them, look right now. But anyway, the Master Chief is the star of this. Pablo Schreiber plays him. It's a great protagonist. It's a cool story too. Like him trying to. I mean, he's a Marine, a space Marine, and he's kind of been as a kid, educating this thing to be the Marine and protect. See, I'm forgetting because I'm not as well versed in Halo stuff. But whatever they're called, whatever. Yeah, he's a Spartan, but whatever the Earth Alliance or whatever it's called,
yeah,
or the I don't know, whatever the United Federation of Planets type idea, right?
Yeah.
But it's also there's other things going on with what happened in his past, what's been hidden from him. A lot of interesting things comes out, and how that affects him and the other Spartans as well. So generally I think, Marx, you're one of them. If you're not super into the games, I've only played a little bit of Halo. I do not really know anything much of the mythos. You enjoyed this series. If you're big into the video games, you might have criticisms. And it's always going to be a problem when if you're super into one thing and they try to adapt it to something else, like Cowboy Bebop last year, which was my number one on the show, I said. And a lot of people who love the anime didn't like it. I know it's always going to be a challenge, right? When you're so invested in something. For me, again, I always think, it didn't affect me here, right? Because I didn't have any investment in Halo. But I guess what I would always say is try to approach it as a completely different take on this subject matter, right? Or this IP, because I'm sure it is different than the game. But whatever they did, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Halo and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. This is weird, actually. This is a weird thing about Paramount Plus here in the UK. But Halo and Star Trek Strange New Worlds were two of the launch shows for Paramount in the UK. But Paramount in the UK doesn't have Picard or that animated Star Trek one. It's basically the only shows it's carrying is Discovery, Strange New Worlds, and Star Trek Prodigy, and all the original sort of classic tracks and TNG and stuff like that. It doesn't carry Lower Decks or Picard, because Amazon have the rights to those at the moment here in the UK. So it's really weird. When that launched here, the only shows I had was that I watched right away were Halo and SNW, and I just went into Halo with an open mind. Never played the games. Never really been interested in games. So I'm not really a huge fan of shoot 'em ups, sort of things. But yeah, as you say, it's a good story. There's some really, really decent world building in there. The characters are intriguing. The character backstory is really interesting, and it kept me interested.
Yeah, I liked Halo. It was it's airing the same time as Picard, and oddly, even though I love Picard, I like the character Picard. That season of Picard was pretty dark, and I was just kind of like, I'll wait. I'll watch Halo first, then I'll get to Picard later this week because it's like it's
Good
just more
choice.
straightforward and just it was just more fun, and but I didn't, I was on a panel at DragonCon for Halo, and everybody else in that panel hated Halo. They all talked first. They're all like, "Yeah, it's terrible. Why is it so terrible? It's blah blah." And I'm like, "Well, I kind of liked it actually." So I was like reverse.
Thank God you were on it.
Yeah.
Like I would have been honest, I had a conflict, but I don't get it. Like I don't put myself on panels when I hate shows.
Yeah. Yeah, because even if I don't know, even if I saw the game, I hope I could try to separate myself a little bit from it because you can't follow the same kind of plot beats as the game's going to have, and you gotta introduce other characters and have them have personality. You're not controlling the lead character; they gotta have like agency and their own personality and stuff. And
exactly.
And I'm not a big. I like video games, but I don't play much anymore because they suck up my time. I need to write. I'm so bad about it that I thought Jeff. I was like, oh, I'll watch this and I'll talk to Jeff about it because he loves this because I thought it was Mass Effect.
Wait, you thought Halo was Mass Effect?
Yeah, I got him confused and thought they're the same game.
That's funny.
So that's how bad I'm at my video games. But I found it to be an enjoyable game. There's only one thing I didn't like about Halo. Only one thing. That girl
Quan.
Quan.
That storyline wasn't that good. No,
she was okay at first, but then like that one where she was mainly the star with the former Spartan.
Yeah,
I just couldn't stand her, and she got everybody killed, and it was just like it was just not a good story.
She became kind of annoying. Yeah,
that's the only.
But again, at least she's not the main story.
No, she just disappeared. I don't know. It'd be funny if she never returns.
Just randomly.
She's like, who knows what happened to her in that planet.
I will say they did definitely try to work in some of the game elements because there's times like where it actually switches to first person perspective from the Spartan's view.
Yeah.
From Master Chief's view, which is like how the game is. So they definitely did try to work some of that in,
Yeah. All right, Katharine.
Okay, I'm going to go with my second and third choice at once because they're kind of a tie for me.
Cool.
So the first one is Lord of the Rings of Power, and the second one is the House of the Dragon. So I thought they were both really great shows. But a little bit like shows I kept on watching, but the pacing was a little slow. So it wasn't they're interesting choices for me because I loved both of them, but at the same time, I mostly was just committed at certain points in the season for both of them. I was like, well, I just need to see how it's going to turn out, and that's why I kept on watching. But the reason they both ended up on this list and in a tie is I think they both ended their seasons so well that whatever shortcomings I might have had earlier on, I think I forgave them.
I enjoyed Lord of the Rings slightly more than the Game of Thrones prequel because I know what's going to happen in the Game of Thrones series prequel.
Right. There's that. Yeah. So House of the Dragon is probably more exciting. Actually, both of the shows, if you don't really know, but what to expect, which I didn't actually. I hadn't read the. It's on my bookshelf, but I hadn't actually read the George R. R. Martin book. So I was able to be surprised by it. But I think I think I would have enjoyed it even if I knew what was going to happen. But just because the characterization in that one I thought was so good. So those two were a tie for me for similar reasons. But awesome. I enjoyed both.
Well, I liked Rings of Power so much that I actually, after watching the finale, I ended up binge watching The Hobbit, Destination of Smog, and The Battle of the Five Armies, Fellowship of the Rings.
Wow, that's excellent.
I sort of binged all those films over the period of 3 weeks. Immediately after watching the series.
Yeah, nice. I also liked Rings of Power a little bit better because I'm a little tired of grimdark fantasy, right? I kind of had that with Game of Thrones. But I did like both of them. The production value, cinematography are all amazing, and it's Matt Smith, right? Hopefully, I'm getting the right Doctor Who actor. Yeah. He does a great job being a villain in there and in the House of Dragon. So they're both really strong in their different ways. But I watched 2 episodes of House Dragon. I'm like, I'll get back to it later because it's like so much murder, needless killing. I kind of like the slightly more heroic fantasy, which I need to watch Willow still because I'm sure that's heroic
Yeah,
also.
same. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I've seen the first three.
Nice.
Oh,
Same.
All right, let's do round 3. And Ian, what's your pick?
Okay, well, I'm going to go with it's not a science fiction fantasy show. It's based on a book series, Reacher.
Oh yeah, I love Reacher.
You know, and long last, they've got the character from Lee Chow's book pretty much right, as in the guy that was cast in the series was perfect casting, really, because he's pretty much as described in the book almost, and not a 5 foot nothing like Tom Cruise. You know, because
Mhm.
in the books, Reacher's seriously is a big guy.
Mhm.
Um, and I just like the series. It was actually a pretty good. It was a pretty good adaptation of the first Reacher book, and I really enjoyed the series. I actually binged the whole lot in a single weekend, which is kind of rare for me.
Nice.
So I've gone with that because I'm conscious that Jeff's got I'm hoping he's going to mention it as his next one. The initials QL. Because I'd like to circle in with him and that as well. Because
Oh yeah,
I'd like to hear what he has to say about
nice. Yeah, I agree with you. Reacher, I love Reacher, and I think they did a great job. That actor who played Aquaman in Smallville, I believe, he does an amazing job in there. It's great action, great thriller, and it actually got me to start reading the books. My next pick, is Severance. So I've just now started watching Apple Plus and got like a real good deal on it. So I was like, why not try it out? I've heard good things about some of their shows. And I think so far Severance, Ted Lasso is great too, but Severance is my favorite so far. And I think it's just this great science fiction sci-fi story where the concept is that people go through the severance process. When they go to work, they lose all memory of their non-work life. And then when they leave work, they lose all memory of their work life. So that basically it starts creating two personalities, basically, at that point when they split. And it's interesting like how they treat the employees, because the employees really know nothing about the world out there. Like they have no memories of prior to being in the office. So in some ways, like the book by the company owner is almost as precious to them as a Bible or something. And so it's really interesting, commentary on corporate, work life, I guess. And but also great sci-fi thriller because it's, this is questionable kind of ethics and stuff. And then there's someone who's escaped and then who dies and all this, mystery stuff going on too.
that.
And it's really funny and at times and really interesting story.
Yeah, I've cancelled my Apple subscription for the time being. Just for a little while. But a show that's on there that I don't think many people have checked out is For All Mankind.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but
By
yeah, I
Ron
heard good,
Moore.
good
It's
stuff.
it's really cool show.
Yeah, they got a bunch of good stuff. Invasion made me mad though, so that's
Severance sounds cool though.
yeah, I think it's worth watching. It just, the performances are amazing and yeah, it's a great show. Yeah, Jeff. So
All right, I was gonna do an honorable mention, but since Ian mentioned it and it was super close, I guess I'll do a quick tie here, so he gets to talk about this too. First off, I'll start with The Gilded Age, which is a show from Julian Fellows, who did Downton Abbey, but instead of in England, it's set in America in the late 1800s, hence the title of the show. It's just it's about like these wealthy people in New York City and the like kind of the new money, which is like people in the like kind of industrialists and like the railroad tycoons and the people coming up and stuff like that. But really, it's good, really good actors, and it's kind of like very addictive storylines and stuff, and all the kind of like the different stuff going on, the machinations, trying to work your way up in society. So very different than the other sci-fi stuff I've been mentioning and fantasy stuff I usually watch. But it's very enjoyable.
Steampunk.
It's not. That'd be cool if they worked in some steampunk to it. Then it would be. Yeah, then it would be like sci.
10 years from now they'll reboot it in steampunk.
Right, like how Riverdale they became superheroes. Anyway, the show Ian wanted me to mention, which I was very close to putting number 3, is Quantum Leap reboot. So I was a big fan of the original Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula, good old Sam Beckett in the 90s. So this is how I've been saying, I think every show that's going to reboot should take a lesson from Quantum Leap. This is the correct way to do a reboot. you keep the storyline that exists and you work it in with new characters. So Sam Beckett, all that stuff, none of that actually all exists still. Sam is somewhere out there in leaping around as far all we know. But there is this new guy, Ben, scientist who restarted the Quantum Leap project. And then and actually it's very interesting for a reason, we just found out about in like the halfway through the season, why he went back, because he goes and leaps before anyone expected him to. Now, I'm not spoiling anything, actually. I'm not going to say why. But you find out right away in the first episode, he leaps before the team is ready for him to do it. And kind of the thing is, why has he done that? Why has he kept secrets from these people? As he leaps between different things. But like Sam Beckett, Ben Soong, the new protagonist, is a very likable character. He's always trying to do the right thing. I'm not totally sold on all the supporting cast, though they are growing on me as the series goes on. And overall, I think they've done a really nice job. I'm very happily surprised. And I hope the show keeps going forward. And I hope it goes long enough that Sam Beckett finally returns home, because I hated that finale of Quantum.
It's been renewed
so
for a
depressing.
second season.
What is that?
Been renewed for a second season.
It has been renewed? Oh, yes. Thank you. That's good news, Ian.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it, although I'm kind of running hot and cold about the hologram Addison and Leaper being involved.
That's not totally working for me either, yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of shipping in fan fiction or any sort of fiction, to be honest. But as you say, the storyline's really been intriguing. I like the fact that we've got Owl's daughter.
Yes, Owl's daughter's in it, which is a nice tie-in.
And there's always a chance that they could bring back Sam Beckett. They've left the door open for him.
Mm-hmm.
So if Scott Bakula wants to come back, he said that he didn't for whatever reason. But you never know. It could still happen. Never say never.
That's because he got trapped in a body in the far future as captain of the Enterprise, and he's just good. He's got a dog.
That's right. He loved it there so much.
He kind of got stuck in that and then leaped over to where is it?
NCIS.
NCIS.
What is it? New Orleans or something? Or
New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
And he's now in a cowboy.
That is kind of funny to think all those different roles have just been him leaping.
He leaped into that magician that he played though. That move. What was that movie he did where he played a magician?
Book of Blood or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Clive Barker movie.
Yeah. He also leaped into the guy that did the cyber terrorism thing. It was like they did a TV miniseries of it. It was based on a John Grisham novel.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what that is.
Well, I also enjoy Quantum Leap. I've been pleasantly surprised. I am not completely caught up yet, but I'm enjoying it. Watching on Peacock. I went and got it.
I'm watching it. Peacock. Yep.
Yeah. So I've been pleasantly surprised. I think that is how you should do. I mean, I feel like unless you're going to go in a dramatically new direction and you have a good creative reason to do that, I think you should just move forward in the story. It's definitely not doing prequels, like Star Trek: Strange New Worlds being one exception. Mm-hmm. Most prequels for me just don't work, and like Discovery.
To be honest, I'm not sure if we're in the minority, because there seems to be still a lot of hate for the new Quantum Leap. A lot of.
Is it really?
Well, I'm not surprised at that. There's always going to be that for new reboots.
Well, people need to be quit hating.
I know.
It's like if you don't want any more Quantum Leap, just don't watch.
That's the thing. If I don't like it, I just don't watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the new Scooby Doo, so I don't watch it.
Yeah, I don't.
I love that.
I have not watched. I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in the day. There's many multiple variations. I don't even know they're good or not, because I just haven't watched them because I just didn't care enough. I don't hate on them though.
Kat's got a message in the chat.
Oh. I think she just meant because she did 2. But she can do another one, right? She did 2 on the last one, but I just did a tie, so it's fine.
You can go. Why don't you start off our bonus round? How about that? Or honorable mention.
All right.
You're going to tie with your third round choice as well, maybe.
Yeah. What should I go straight into bonus, or should I?
Oh, if you have a third,
I
pick,
get two bonuses.
If you have a third pick, go for it, and then we'll do like an honorable mention after that.
Okay, sounds good. So I guess another choice for me would be, I really liked the latest Stranger Things season.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't my favorite, but I still really enjoyed it. And I think at this point as far as characters go, I think I'm pretty firmly Team Murray, the journalist character. Like, I know it's supposed to be about the kids, but I'd just watch a spin-off of him, I think, if they had one. But he was my favorite by far of his adventures in this past season. But I thought it was good in general.
He did a
Kept
little
me-
Karate Kid.
Would you say?
He did a little Karate Kid action.
He did. It was awesome.
I also
His intense training against a teenager or something from his class.
I also liked I hope I'm not getting the name wrong. Eddie, right?
Yeah,
Eddie, yeah.
Yeah.
he was great.
That was a great
He's really
character.
great now.
Yeah, I loved this season of Stranger Things. I thought it was, I mean, it's like an epic movie, right? I'm impressed how
Mhm.
the Duffer Brothers have managed to do this large ensemble cast with multiple threads that they tie together somehow every time. So
Yeah, it's really complicated, but yeah, I think pull it off as well.
Yeah, and I think, I don't really have a favorite character. I love all the characters in it.
yeah, there's not many I don't like. The pizza dude, he was getting a little much after a while. The bro guy, like, "Well, yeah, man."
That's probably what I like.
All right, let's do our final round of TV with honorable mentions, and let's start it off with Ian.
Well, let's see what Leverage Redemption, second season, it's airing at the moment on Freebie. And when they bought it back last year, I was a little bit dubious about whether to be able to reboot it and whether it feel the same or stuff like that. It doesn't feel the same. It's different, but it's still good. It's still good fun. It's the same formula. It's different con every week, and it's kind of like your Robin Hood sort of like things. The con artist, screwing over the wealthy that have screwed over somebody else, sort of thing.
Mhm.
In order to help these people out, and it's just sort of like I'm just loving it. Sort of like Christian Kane's brilliantly grumpy and sort of like a kick-ass character, and I think the Sophie Devereaux is now leading the group. Um, and it's more interesting with her leading because because she wasn't originally the leader of the group, and it's more interesting seeing her lead, especially in the first season and a little bit now in the second. Otis Hodge isn't in it as much, obviously, but he's still there as a recurring a character. And basically, the premise of this one is Leverage has now become sort of like a worldwide company, and they've got networks of con artists working for them to sort of like take out the trash, so to speak, with all these corrupt corporations and corrupt millionaires and billionaires and stuff like that. So I kind of wish it was real, that there was a real leverage company out there.
Be nice, right?
Yeah. I just love the concept of the show and the characters, and the stories. Some of them can be pretty basic, but some of them can be more complex. It's just a fun show. It's very much a throwback to what TV used to be like in the 80s in a sense.
Cool. Yeah, I love Leverage and glad the show came back. All right, so my bonus pick, well, honorable mention that I won't say much more else about because I talked a lot about Marvel, is their special presentations with Werewolf, oh my gosh.
Night?
Yes, Werewolf by Night. Everyone's saying Werewolf for the Night or something. Werewolf by Night, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, two very tonally different ones, but I thought it was genius. They were just so experimental and different, and they're a lot of fun one shots. But my other show that I mentioned, I don't think anybody else is going to mention. Probably a lot of you haven't seen it. Is From, because it's on Epix, I believe. And that show, it's sort of like a darker version of Lost in a way, where it's the idea. Actually, the actor, is it Harold something? He was in Lost, and the actor was, and this character is a father who gets stuck in this town, where basically there's this town somewhere in America where you can come up to it, you can drive up to it, randomly from anywhere in America, and then you're stuck in it. And so people randomly get stuck in this town. Like if you keep driving on a road, you'll just loop in a circle. And every night these monsters come out and will kill anybody that's outside. And then they'll try to tempt you to let them in, kind of like old school vampire kind of idea. And so,
It sounds familiar. I've not seen it, but the premise, it sounds like here in the UK, the Sci-Fi Channel, SYFY, has actually rebranded, and it's now called the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
SCIFI in the UK.
Yeah. Well, it's not in the US either, but yeah.
And From was basically the show that launched that here in the UK. So
Well, From's a new show.
one not checked out yet, but
Okay. Well, From's new. Season 2's coming out soon. And so it's a mystery thing, right? It's like some new people come there. They're kind of like, how is this possible? How do we get electricity? What's this town? It's like a 50s looking town, people are getting killed left and right, and more people get replaced, and as they come in, and they're just trying to figure out, like, they found these ruins that like keep the monsters out of buildings, but then like where are these ruins come from, and what's out in the forest, and it's just a layer of mystery upon mystery upon mystery, like Lost, but I feel like they actually have an idea where they're going with it, and they have this very wide range of characters who at first they're separate in two different groups, where one's more like families stay together in their towns, and we have like a sheriff and stuff, and then the other ones are like in this giant town, this giant like mansion house, who just kind of live, and they're like, well, let's just do whatever we want and party, because you never know if we'll never make it home, and we might die and stuff, so let's just be like a little, like a hippie community or something. So it's an interesting series. It's a little different than I've seen before, and I'm just really curious to see where it goes. And most people don't know it exists because it's on Epics that nobody watches.
It's the same channel that shows Pennyworth, right?
Yeah, well, yes, that's where Pennyworth came from. Now, and Pennyworth 3 is on, at least in the US, it's on HBO Max. But yeah. All right, Jeff.
All right. Actually, so just looking at the spreadsheet we've shared, and Mark's one on your list, I totally forgot about it. Should have been on my list. Archive 81.
Yeah.
Amazing, like, I guess, psychological sci-fi thriller, which like has storyline bopping between two characters, one in the present, one in the past, and how those storylines merge. But fantastic acting. This show is riveting. Like, I just could not stop watching the show. I have no idea if Netflix, I think it's a Netflix show, right? Is going to continue it.
Yeah, no, it's canceled. Sorry.
I figured it was. Any show that's that good, I figured they're going to cancel it. Anyway, but here's the thing: the show is completely contained as its own season. I feel still, or contained enough, I would say, to watch it, even though it got canceled. Archive 81. Real quick, two other ones. Blade Runner, Black Lotus. I actually mentioned this last year, but the second half of the season aired in 2022. Probably my favorite Blade Runner ever, to be honest with you. It's an animated series taking place, I think, before Blade Runner 20, whatever the fuck it was, 2040. I don't know, what was it? 2049, whatever the year was.
I don't remember.
And it took me that long to get through it.
Jessica Henwick plays the lead. She's great in it. I love her. And last one is a Disney Plus show, which unfortunately also got canceled, but Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion, a really fun take on the superhero thing. It's about a Latino family, and the daughter, who's in junior high, finds a lucha mask that gives her superpowers.
Awesome.
And then
is it live action or animated?
Live action.
Okay.
Live action. And then she finds out her uncle has a lucha mask, and he is the famed Black Scorpion hero that's been protecting the city. And he starts training her, and they have a wonderful dynamic because she's all energetic and peppy and wants to go on Instagram to promote herself. And he's all serious and like, hey, you can't do that. You're a superhero, blah, blah, blah. And so it's a wonderful cast, and it's a bummer that it's over with, but I've only watched about half of it, so I still got at least the second half of the season to watch. It's a fun superhero take.
I haven't heard of that one. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I just discussed. They did not advertise it well at all because I just happened to be browsing through and said, "What's this? What's this?"
Oh yeah, Disney Plus is not very friendly to finding things.
There's quite a lot of stuff like that on Disney Plus that do not advertise too well. That
yeah. So it's so weird when shows don't succeed when they don't advertise.
It's crazy. How's that work? And how about you, Katharine?
All right. I'm going to go with another Star Wars show. So I thought Obi-Wan Kenobi was really good. It didn't blow my mind the way Andor did, because it's a more classic kind of Star Wars story, but I thought it was really solid. I thought it was really fun. I looked forward to every episode. So like they didn't mess up. They didn't go wrong with it. So it was just solid.
I was very pleasantly surprised. I love little Leia in that.
Yeah, she was great.
That's my favorite part.
I love the finale. I love the lightsaber fight in the finale.
That was cool. Awesome. I had some really good moments.
Well, nice. So I don't think I do want to throw out a couple more quick. The Boys and Superman Lois, two extremely different tonally superhero shows.
Very.
I'm looking forward to more Boys and the spinoff, and but I'm also I hope Superman Lois continues on, if not on CW, maybe on HBO Max or something, because I think it's a good take on
I think
Superman.
there's a third season of it coming up next month.
There is. I hope there's another season. I hope
means
it still
beyond
has a
that.
future. Yeah.
I was talking to Francis this week on Super Geeked Up about how that's the last show remaining in the superhero CW shows. We used to have like 5 shows on at once,
Well, it's
Like
not
it-
even part of the Arrowverse, really. So.
I know, but it's the last like superhero show that exists on CW right now.
Yeah, I
as
mean,
far as
they
I know.
just finished with
Yeah.
Stargirl.
But that got canceled, Francis says now.
Yeah, that
Stargirl.
got canceled. Yeah.
So like it's crazy though, right? That used to be like I watched everything, all the superhero on the CW, and now it's like there's nothing virtually.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is next year, or well, maybe the year after that, because of contract stuff. I think it's just going to turn into reality TV, crazy.
Oh, because
Stuff.
because Discovery owns the CW now too, right? Because it's part of Warner Brothers.
No, it's they don't own CW. It's like Next
they don't?
Star or something like that.
Why would all the CW shows go to HBO Max though? Then they just bought them.
Well, because most of the shows of CW are
Produced by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, they're mostly Warner, and there's some Paramount, and then probably some other syndicated stuff that bought. So the actual station has been bought by Nexstar, and they decide not to renew contracts because it's too expensive, they think, and they want to do a cheaper version of that station.
The show I want to see is I think it was a Neil somebody or other, and they did a crossover of Green Lantern and Green Arrow, where they had them touring the United States, putting things to right.
I mean, a comic series.
It was a comic series, and basically, you had the dichotomy between the two characters, between sort of like Green Arrow kind of being more sort of like a bit more liberal, and and Green Lantern sort of being a little bit more sort of like I am the law sort of thing. And between them, you had one of the Guardians that would pop into the story as well, and it was just basically they were on a road trip across America, and they kind of got involved in different sort of like things, taking down local gangsters, and helping out sort of like drug addicts and stuff like that within the context of it. And I think it was I can't remember the name of the writers off the top of my head, but it's actually I want to see that series made. I want to see.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
So, Mark, are you saying all the CW shows are basically going to be canceled now? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean,
Or
most
they're
of
gonna
them
have to find new
are.
homes?
Most of them are.
No, but I mean the
so-
current ones for this season that are on right now.
Most of them have. So it's just
Because there's still a lot of live action. I mean, some of those just like the Winchesters and Walker, whatever the
the
Independence,
prequel.
they just started.
Yeah, but they didn't. So they haven't canceled those or anything. But they did not order a back order of Winchesters, like the second half of that season. So that's not a good sign. And
Oh, wow.
and they've said that like who knows what's going to be next year when contracts are up. Well, I don't know. We want to make it less expensive and more reality shows and stuff.
So both that and HBO Max are like going more that route. This is terrible.
Yeah, I would hate now the Winchesters anyway. I mean, in our days, you would be assassins use Glocks.
What?
What?
I think I missed the beginning part.
Yeah, I don't know. That was supposed to be a joke, I think.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Winchesters, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm sure a lot of those shows, will Superman and Lois has the double complexity of DC with James Gunn and the other guy. We're taking a new direction if whether or not they'll want to, invest in Superman and Lois moving forward. That's what I'm worried about with that one. But a lot of the other CW shows, I feel like, some of those, if they get canceled, I feel like if they're smart, HBO Max or someone will do something with it, or they'll sell, or they'll ship it or syndicate it to someone else. Hopefully, who knows? The streaming bubble has burst. Basically, unfortunately, all the content coming out and stuff now the studios are like, whoa, it's back up here and stuff, and they're not gonna greenlight quite as much stuff.
Yeah, they could rehire the actors and do animated spin-offs of the CW shows.
Yeah, well, I mean, Legends of Tomorrow fans are really upset about that getting canceled, and I was too led back.
That got a good run though.
It did get a good run.
That got a really good run. I mean, I kind of checked out about 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, but it was still a decent show, and I don't know. I think the Arrowverse took a big blow after Crisis.
It destroyed it.
They destroyed it pretty much. Yeah. They did exactly what I said on our show, DC Action Hour. I mean, Jeff, I kept saying that they better not do like a weird reboot thing where they rewrite history and stuff, because I killed Witchblade, and they better not do that.
And that's exactly what they did.
And that's exactly what they did. And I was like, yeah, and I just they redid like all the villains in Flash. They're all like, oh, everybody's new now and stuff, and it was.
That's
so
when I stopped
weird.
watching. I was like, nope, I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, it's not it's a bad idea to do that way. Don't ever do that, people.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Let's go ahead and go around and say where people can find us. And I'll start with me, I guess. Marx Pyle. I'm at marxpyle.com. You can find me also at Twitter at Mr. Marx, and also any publishing stuff like the anthologies we do at Cabot Crossing publishing.com or cabotcrossing.com. And Ian?
You can find my stuff at sci-fi-pulse.net. Been going now since 2001.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Now. So
Nice.
started in May 2001. But you find most comic reviews, TV show reviews, movie reviews, and all our opinionated stuff there. Good team of writers. Lots of different opinions. So.
Yeah, I feel like you should have been like back in 2001. Okay. Yes, great website. Everybody should check it out. So, all right, Jeff.
Supergeekedup.com. It's the same name on YouTube. We do live geeky improv comedy every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. We have superhero comedy, role-playing games up there. Lots of fun stuff. I write for part of Kat and Marx, part of the anthologies I'm doing, the dragons and monster ones. You can check me out there. And also, if you like things a little more spicy, I do comedic geeky erotica under RileyRoseErotica.com.
Ooh. And Katharine?
Yes, I can be found best on Instagram. I'm there as Suggestionize. And I've moved off of Twitter, and I'm experimenting with a bunch of platforms. So for the moment, Instagram is the place for me. And next year, I'll probably be in a bunch of other things. But that's it.
Yeah, I probably should move off Twitter too. I know Twitter's a mess right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of starting an Instagram for the website and starting a personal one, but
Do a TikTok.
Oh,
TikTok, Ian.
No, not doing TikTok.
Oh, see, Ian dancing around. He can do the Peacemaker and Wednesday dances.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be great.
You don't want to see an old guy dad dancing. I mean, come on.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thank all of you for sharing your opinions, and thank everyone for listening to us. And hopefully, you got some new shows to go check out, movies or books. And everybody have a great New Year, and a great Christmas, holidays, and of course, in the New Year for 2023 as we get
Me
started.
too. Me too.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.